school, right?
Yeah, which is now like a decade ago.
I know.
Somehow.
That's crazy. Yeah, well, I want to welcome you to my podcast. And, yeah, now that we're, adulting and have projects, I figured we should chat a little bit about it because I'm excited for all of your success.
Yes.
So, so let's talk about the book before we get to the book that you're about to release, let's talk about the book that you've already released, because I know it's available on multiple platforms. I think you have it on Audible now, and
yes.
I want those who aren't aware of you as an author to kind of learn a bit more about you. So kind of explain to those people out there that might be listening that are interested in finding a new read.
Alrighty. Well, my first book that was published last year is called Daughters Unto Devils. It's a young adult horror novel that takes place in the prairie at an undetermined exact time and location, but it is in the vein of Little House on the Prairie. It's kind of like if Little House on the Prairie met with demons. I don't know. I pitched it to my agent originally as Little House meets The Exorcist, and she was like, "Oh, yes, please write that." And it was actually my first horror novel. I've been writing contemporary before that, but it was just such a blast to write, and I had so much fun with it that I pretty much knew I wanted to write horror as long as I can. And it follows a 16-year-old girl named Amanda Werner who experienced some severe cabin fever last winter, and in order to distract herself, she began seeing a postboy from the other side of the mountain and became pregnant with his child. Her family is very religious. She hides it from them. At the same time, she finds out they're going to be moving from the mountains to the prairie. And once they get there, things just start kind of going crazy, and she's not sure if she's just losing her mind or if there's something really evil on the prairie.
Awesome. I'm intrigued. I mean, that makes Little House on the Prairie a little bit more exciting.
Right.
But you mentioned contemporary. So what made you switch? I mean, obviously there's all kinds of, we all like different genres, but
right.
What made you change as an author?
I started out, it's funny because I loved reading. All growing up, I was obsessed with reading. I never really thought to myself, when I grow up, I want to write books, because I didn't think that was really possible. I didn't really entertain the idea seriously until I was 19. And my first inspiration for a book was a contemporary idea. It was dark contemporary, but still, I knew even then I wanted to write horror eventually, but the idea of starting there was so overwhelming because I didn't even know how to just juggle characters in a real world yet, let alone a world tinged with otherworldly horrors. So I ended up writing 3 books that were contemporary. None of them sold. By that time, I was kind of just all right, if it's going to take this long to get published, because publishing as an industry works so slowly in that sense, it takes years and years before you see any sort of payoff, or at least it did for me. So I thought, if it's going to take this long anyway, I might as well write one and just have as much fun as I possibly can. And at that point, I felt confident enough to try a horror, and my agent agreed with me. She really encouraged it, and sure enough, like I said, as soon as I wrote Daughters Unto Devils, I was hooked. It was so fun, and really just sort of, you got to have fun with the character side of it, the contemporary angles, the character arcs and the more realistic problems. And then you can have the extra fun with any sort of demon or scary parts. That was just the cherry on top for me. And I don't think, I would write contemporary again, but I think at this point I'm so into horror I can't really imagine writing anything else, at least for a little while, if not a very long time.
Awesome. And so, as you mentioned, publishing is a small, it takes forever, apparently. So I know you're passionate about it. So what has kept you motivated other than just, knowing that you're writing good content?
Yes, so it gets really hard for sure because, like I said, for years and years you're writing and putting your heart out onto the page and trying as hard as you can, but it's a hard truth to face